Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. It may well still be winter here in Wales as I film this episode, but in Savernake Forest autumn is coming to an end and all the animals living there need help to gather and store food for the winter. And there are many animals to help: hamsters, hedgehogs, badgers, and beavers, foxes and blue jays, moles, mice and woodpeckers. You name them, they're all there and all need your help to gather all the food they need to see them through the winter and safely into the next year. Designed by Rodrigo, Rego and published by Devir Games, Savernake Forest is a small box card game where 2 to 4 players build their own section of the forest, creating paths for various animals where they will find food for them to collect and store for the winter. But you need to ensure that you create paths with the animals' favourite foods to make sure they're happy and score you the highest points. Otherwise, your animals are going to go hungry and no one wants that to happen. I mean, you don't want to see this one go hungry, do you? And certainly not this little one. Oh. So don't forget to build the paths that lead to their favourite foods so that everyone can sleep easy at night, knowing that all the critters out there will have plenty of their favourite food for the winter. Okay, so join me and let's take a Fun with Boxes stroll through the forest and see what delights await for us in Savernake Forest. Savernake Forest is a delightful, cute little game that is easy to set up, quick and fun to play. In fact, it's so quick to set up, let's set up a game right now, shall we? First, place the small game board in the centre of the table with the animal side facing up. The opposite side is the score track, which you will use at the end of the game. Separate the cards into 2 decks based on the patterns on their backs so that you have a deck of path cards and a deck of animal cards. Shuffle them well and place them next to the board like this. The path cards to the left and the animal cards to the right above the rabbit. Give each player an animal card from the top of the animal deck, which they will play face up in front of themselves, forming a small clearing with an animal in their forest. Place the rooster on its spot on the board, then place water drops above the goat and layer tokens above the armadillo. Give each player a coloured token and randomly decide who will go first and give that player the rooster, which is the first player marker. And then you are ready to play. And playing a game could not be easier. Starting with the first player, everyone will take a turn and simply choose a card to add to their forest. Once everyone has taken a card, any remaining cards are discarded, new ones drawn, and a new round begins and everyone does the same again, until eventually everyone's forest is full and it's time to see how much food your animals were able to store for the winter. To begin playing, 3 path cards are turned over and 1 placed under the rooster, 1 under the goat and 1 under the armadillo. And then 1 animal card is turned over and placed beneath the rabbit. On your turn, you must take 1 of the available cards and place them into your forest following a couple of simple rules. You must place the card adjacent to a card in your forest. You can rotate the card before placing it. You do not need to connect to an existing path. Dead ends are perfectly fine. Your forest must be a 4x4 square, and you can never have 2 or more animals on the same path. You see, they like their own path so that they can pick up all the food safely for themselves. So please remember, 1 path, 1 animal. And talking of the animals, let's take a look at an animal card because it gives us very important information about the animal and about what food it likes to collect for the winter. There are 4 types of foods found in the forest, and each animal card shows a drawing of these in their corners. You have berries, worms, eggs and nuts. The number next to the drawing of the food tells you how interested the animal is in that food. If it's 0, then the animal does not like this food at all and really doesn't want to collect it, as this will end up going to waste and take up valuable storage space for food it does want to eat. Not only that, but it will end up scoring you no points at the end of the game. But if it has a 1, for example, then for every food of that type the animal collects for the winter, you will score 1 point. The higher the number, the more the animal likes it and the more points you score at the end of the game. You need to be mindful though that each animal can only store a certain amount of food for the winter, and you can see how much food they can store by the number indicated by its lair. Once an animal has collected this number of food items, it cannot carry any more as it has nowhere else to store them. So you need to be careful and leave a trail of food the animal likes, because they will grab the first food items they can see and take them back to their lair to store. So if they pick up any food items they do not like, don't forget that they will go to waste and not score you any points. Finally, each animal will be worth a set number of points just for being in your forest, regardless of whether or not they were able to collect food for the winter. The number of points is shown in the leaf here, and you simply add these points to your score at the end of the game. Let's take a look at Foxy. We can see straight away that Foxy loves eggs, and also loves the odd worm or two. However, Foxy does not really want any berries or any nuts, as they get stuck in its teeth. So Foxy will be happy to have some eggs and worms, and a happy fox means a happy you, because you get to score points at the end of the game. But with the help of Roosty, Goaty and Armadillo-E, you can make sure you get the best for your animals, because when you take a path card to put into your forest, you also gain an additional benefit. If you take the card from under Roosty, the rooster, then you take the rooster token and keep that by your forest. This means that you will be the first player to pick a card on the next round. And if you have Roosty at the end of the game, you will score 1 additional point. If you take a path card from underneath Goaty the goat, you also take a water droplet and can put that onto any corner of an animal card in your forest. This will make the food there more nutritious and tempting to the animals, increasing the value of that food by 1 point. Watch out though, you can only put 1 water token on each corner, so choose wisely. If you take the path card from underneath Armadillo-y, the armadillo, you can take 1 lair token and you can place this on any animal card in your forest. This will increase the amount of food they can store by 1, and unlike water drops, you can place as many of these on an animal card as you would like. Finally, if you chose the animal card from the rabbit, you simply place this into your forest and you have a new animal looking for a path with food on it. But don't forget, you cannot have 2 animals on the same path. So please make sure they have a path of their own, or that you build one for them later in the game. End of a round. Once all players have taken a card, discard any remaining cards and refill them ready for the next round. 3 path cards and 1 animal card. End of the game. The game ends as soon as everyone has filled a 4x4 grid, 16 cards in total. Their part of the forest is complete and all their animals have collected and stored their food for the winter. But before we move to scoring, everyone must check to see if any animals in their forest are sharing the same path. If you have any, then you have to choose to keep 1 in your forest and discard the rest. They will not score you any points. But do not be too alarmed though. I'm sure they will find a supermarket somewhere and curl up there for the winter. So whilst they will not score you any points, they will have somewhere warm with food for the winter. That's what I like to think anyway. Nothing bad would happen to them, would it? No, I'm sure. Now, flip the game board over to its scoring side and score your points. First, add all the leaf points for your animals, then track each path from your animal and collect the number of food items up to your total lair points, and then score them based on what the animal wants. Remember, they will take every food item they come across up to their lair points to store, so let's hope they are collecting the food they want and scoring you points. Here is an example from the last game I played. Let's score my blue jay. I think he's a blue jay. I'm not entirely sure. I forgot to check that out. As you can see, they only like berries, which are worth 1 point, but I have added a water droplet to make them even juicier, so now they're worth 2 points. I've added a lair token which increases its lair from 5 to 6, so knowing this, off goes the little bird in search of food. In this case, extra juicy berries. And look, what do they find? Berries! Yay! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 berries. And what? Oh no, nuts. They found a nut, which they don't like, but they will carry it back to their lair because they can store 6 food items. And the 5 berries and the nut were the first 6 food items they found. So they will score 2 points per berry for a total of 10 points. and score nothing for the nut, of course. And don't forget, they also score 1 point for the leaf. Then I would continue scoring the rest of my animals. And finally, don't forget, the player with the rooster at the end of the game scores an extra point. And the player with the most points wins. And if there's a tie, the player closest to the player with the rooster token wins. And that's how you play Savernake Forest. There is an advanced 2-player variant for you to try once you have played a few games and are familiar with the game. In this version you play by building a forest that is 8x4 in size rather than 4x4, and start the game with 2 animal cards instead of 1. And each round of the game you will take 2 cards instead of 1. The starting player takes a card first, then the second player, then the starting player takes a second card, and the second player takes the last card. This offers you more of a challenge, and you may want to try this out for some extra thinky, foodie fun. Well, this is a great little filler game that I think you can play in under 20 minutes quite easily. The box does say 30 minutes, but it's just so quick to set up and so quick to play. And you can easily play this in a lunch break, or play it when you do not have time available for a longer game. I find this is a perfect little filler game in this regard. The artwork is cute, and whilst this is quite a light game, there is plenty of actual game here to play, and you will have to carefully plan and place your cards to get the best food for your animals. It's great fun, and one that will be hitting our table in our lunch breaks for days to come. This one is definitely worth picking up. Well, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe too. That would be awesome. And as always, please take care. Bye for now.